Welcome back. This is the last game of the first event coming into CoG LoL Esports 2013. This is the season, and this is the first online points round. It's going to happen. It's going to be Nulli up against Sanctus. Nulli over in the blue, and Sanctus in the red. Nulli, a little bit of history in the LoL scene competitively already. They had a lot of fun in Season 1, and they've picked up a couple of people coming into Season 2. I don't think I've seen much of Crumpet Yo, and I keep forgetting quite a lot about Mad Max. I can't remember if he was there from the start, or if indeed he's coming in as a new player. But still, a lot of new and fantastic stuff coming out from them. Never seen Sanctus though. Seen a little bit of Icy Hot. I know Sigil's kind of cool. This is, I believe, a little bit of a Team Forge team. A little bit of a couple of guys there. It's going to be some fun. Let's see how it goes coming into the Champ Select in just a moment. Ready to start, guys? Let's see this. Ready to start. There we go. Again, I'm Snowy Padre. This is CoG LoL Esports. Let's do this. And those people in the background apparently very happy. Incredibly. Here we go. Champ Select coming right up there. Nulli up against Sank. Kale straight out banned from CoG there. Doesn't want to deal with the intervention or the dangerous righteous fury shred. It's insane. Kale, a ridiculously good team champion coming into Season 3. Down goes Malphite. Standard ban with that unstoppable force. We haven't seen too many Malphites, Amumu's, or Blitzes banned this tournament. This points rounds, rather. And they haven't actually been picked up as much either. So the Shen of course picked up. The Shen of course. Down goes Thresh as well. And there's the Blitzcrank ban. So it's going to be a lot of standard bans coming out from Sanctus. I really can't say, like, a potentially targeted coming out from Nulli, but there's still quite a lot of utility coming out from Kale and Thresh. And the Kha'Zix going down must be a targeted. Kha'Zix, a powerful single target damage champion, great in the mid, great in the jungle position, but definitely not the prime pick. You know, you could still go for the Amumu. You could still go for indeed a Lux mid for that teamfight control and the burst. CoG actually going straight for the volley. So all you lovers of solo queue volibears, that's where it's at. That's what's going to happen. CoG bringing out the volley. Which lane is he actually going to be in? We don't know just yet. The Shen was banned out. Last one going down for Sanctus there. No backdooring potential in this game. Well, I know there are a lot of champions that can still do that. They just need some form of transportation. You can still get a Twisted Fate going nuts. And Sanctus thinking of picking up the Vayne. Let's see if this Vayne's going to be rivaled by He from the last game. Will they pick up the Protect the Vayne combo? Considering Malphite and Blitz are down for that, I mean, they could go. I was going to say Malphite. They could go for the Jarvan and the Zen, come to think of it, for that jungle position. Really, really strong for the defensive play. Same with the Lulu, but they did lock in with Icy Hot onto Taric there. No better ADC protector than Lulu. Are we going to see the Hui come to life? No! Juicy just joking at me with the Maud. Is it going to be an unusual team comp? Sammy thinking of going for the Leona. He's gone for the all-in Leona. I've seen so many all-in Leonas lately, and they just get in such a difficult position. You have to have perfect control over what's going on in the game as a Leona to make a good play with your Zenith Blade. If you get out of place just that tiny little bit in danger mode, of course, double ADC lane. Why didn't I think of that? He's totally going to go for that. Hello, Reno Fox. Oh, Reno apparently going to buy me another month's supply of instant noodles. I've moved on from instant noodles. I now sustain my life on energy drinks. I actually got off energy drinks for a while. I was pretty proud of myself. I was pretty proud. But I could do with some noodles. Chicken noodles, my favorite. Gonna insta. Actually, I'm a Luxa kind of guy. Although I do like the spice. I'm a curry kind of guy. Give me some curry. Give me a month's worth of curry, and we're good. We've got ourselves a deal. Because it's a deal. Because I'm getting you something in return. Just so totally. Luck's going to be locked in there. I did think they should have banned that out. I really do feel that that Nulai slipped the ball with the Kazakhs. Although again, I don't know if that's targeted. Maybe against Sanct. Maybe again that Sanctum. That Sanctus. I want to say Sanctum. So close though. Magmoose picking up the Cho'Gath, and a pretty quick lock-in for the Zed, and the Rumble pick. Who's going to go in the jungle from that? Who's going to go mid? I'm pretty sure Rumble's going in the mid lane. We're going to see Volley potentially in the jungle and Zed up the top lane. They do have a bit of versatility going in with that. Lux in the mid lane does do a little bit worse against Zed than she does against Rumble. Volibear is pretty good in that in that top lane as well. Easily see Rumble in that jungle position. Haven't seen too many Rumbles in the jungles. Haven't seen too many. And Juicy on that Varus. I'm expecting lots of things from DJ Juicy tonight. Sigil going to be allowed to pick up that Jace, so it looks like Sigil going to try and play the sustain lane. He sees the pushing potential from everyone coming in on Nulai. You know, they've got so much burst there. They're so close range while being a little bit of pokey from Zed there. He just can go all in on the lane. They've got so much kill lane potential. Jace is perfect for that composition because he can get aggressive and he can get very defensive because he's got good range with his cannon. Good ability to farm from range. Aurelia, the exact same kind of potential. He's got options here, but he's gone for that sustain. He's not gone for that 1v1. He's gone for the choice. And who wouldn't? You know, you don't know if you want to be aggressive or defensive against a champion until you go up against them. Because despite the fact that there is a match-for-match lane, you got to take into account junglers, you got to take into account teleports if they ever come out. Teleport's still pretty rare these days. I think I don't know. I'd always go into a team fight with a teleport. I'd always go into a team game with a teleport if I had the option to. Turns out I don't. I really don't. Anyway, the timer is going down. Down go the summoner blocks there. So it is going to be Cho'Gath in the jungle as well as Volibear. Those ADC kill lanes, it's going to work out very interestingly. Vayne's got a lot of tools for escape as well as the stun on Taric. No cleanse on DJ Juicy for the Varus here. He's gone for a complete kill with the ignite. Works well with the lane owner because they do go with that all in. And once she's in there, if you don't back her up, she's definitely going to die. So they're going to want to really ward up that lane unless they want to die in that bot lane. They need that sight because they need to know going in is not gonna hurt them. I'm pretty sure it's met up with the Rumble, and Zed's going to end up in the top lane. Rumble, again, is all right against Lux. I just think she just has too much range on him. He can get right into the battle with his little flying ability there. Valkyrie of the giant scrap metal things. You know, Corky on steroids. And I don't know, that's sort of the only way he can get aggressive. There's still a good chance that Lux can get off the light binding when he actually attacks her, and she can punish him for that. Zed, I feel, is more effective in the mid lane, but then Rumble would be forced up at the top lane against Jace, which is even harder than going up against Lux. It's a toss-up. That could really go either way, depending on what they're more comfortable with. I'd be more comfortable with Zed in that mid lane against the Lux, to be honest. It's easier to kill a Lux, and Zed just has the potential to chase her down if she gets out of range, whereas Rumble really doesn't. Unless he gets his Equalizer. Who knows? Equalizer great initiate on Jace. He's decent up against Jace as well. But Jace still got that range. And like Destro Ward says, Jace wins everything. Just apparently. On pure ratio, 100%. Oh yeah. Most definitely. Up in team fights, a lot of control coming out from Nulai, but I feel like the tanky and range advantage coming out from Sanctus. Nulai, they have to get in on there, and they are an all-in competition. All-in composition. Indeed, this is a competition. They're an all-in composition now. Volibear jumps in there. He has no escapes. He's going to initiate with the flip, going for the slow. Then we see the solar flare go down from Leona there. And then Zed's in there, and Rumble's in there, just dealing all the damage, all the AoE. It is really insane. The equalizer coming into the mark of death. Crazy damage, but it is all in. If there's any disengaged potential on Sanctus, they'll take it, because that'll be an ultimate burned by Rumble most definitely, and by Leona. Not necessarily from volley, you can take it that way, but also the chant of corruption from Varus. So I feel like they're gonna burn everything. They're gonna try and jump in there for that instant team fight, and that's gonna maybe end up for a win with them. But disengages coming out from Sanctus. Let me just wait, because I can't remember what the champions were. I totally can. I mean, there's a rupture on Cho'Gath, but he can't run away that quickly. After that, he's probably still going to get slowed by the Volibear. You know, he might just get hit by the edge of that Solar Flare. That's enough to give them a kill. Solar Flare or Roar. Jace is an easy disengage. So does Vayne. Stun on Taric and a Light Binding on Lux, but that's still an initiate combo as well. I don't think that actually makes them escape, and they've got to pick their targets well. So it's going to be very hard for Sanctus to disengage. But they have potential. They really do. In we go. Mr. Unranked Crumpet, yo. Because that's how he rolls. That's how it goes, man. 2 gold, 1 there. Why am I talking about borders? Borders, by the way, just a big heads up. They don't actually mean much. VGR went up Diamond Plat borders. And then in came legit. They beat them once, and then VGR was like, nope, I'm going to take away Grand Finals. That was the end of 2013. VGR 2 bows. Just a little bit. No show from VGR in this section of the CoG LoL Esports tournament. We'll see if they join us in another couple of weeks. Or they focus on their EPS, as they do have a position in the EPS. Very understandable focusing up on that. Coming into the game. Yay, no instant pauses. Nobody needs to set their key bindings. But we're waiting for that. Actually, it's Vayne in the top lane and Jace ADC. Hey, possible. Or just maybe not. I'm kidding. All them junglers. And there's my prediction for top lane, actually Zed. And I'm thinking we're going to see that Rumble in the mid lane against Lux. Or they're actually going to do what I want them to do. Are they actually going to do what I want them to do? It looks like they might just put Zed in the mid lane. I love you guys! Oh yeah, Nulai. You read my heart. If you don't do that, I will just change my mind about all of you and all the things you do. I can make a song out of this. It'll be filled with heart and loveliness. Doran's Blade start out for the Vayne, going to be looking to be sustaining in the bot lane. A little bit of damage. Varus picking up the long sword. Elixir of Fortitude for Zed in the mid lane. He's expecting quite a lot of aggression from Lux, and she has gone for a lot of that mana regen, so she's going to be trying to spam out abilities in the early game. There's the pause! What would a New Zealand League of Legends game be without a pause? Let me just see exactly what this is. Bloop. Sponsor, calm down, gentlemen. I'm very curious. Someone's lagging apparently. Magmo's calling it. Cheers, buddies. Anyway, it does look like there may be a semi-invade coming in from Sanctus. I wouldn't expect a full invade, to be honest. I think they have been sighted out there. Still, we haven't seen any level 1 fights or invades in the CoG LoL Esports scene to date in this first event. 2013 looking fun. I can't wait. We're going to have a lot of events coming up. I'm going to be there for everything! You'll never get rid of me. Pure start out for both teams. Zed will be in that mid lane, actually picking up the raids from stealth to start out, and it is going to be a golem start out for the bot lane as well. This is Nulle making perfect use of the jungle. And that is actually a very good play for them to make. They're going to have that heads up at the beginning of the game. Heads up in levels. Heads up maybe just a little bit in damage. I think you can already see the pushing potential from Crumpet. Is he planning to push the lane and just sort of split in other lanes? Is he planning for that roaming potential? this may be. It looks like he's just getting too aggressive to stay in lane. Danger mode trying to present in kind, and yes, it is quite a lot of range winning at the top lane from Sigil. Once that level 3 comes down for Rumble though, it's going to spike up his damage, and he's got so much more potential to initiate. In goes the Zenith Blade, landing with a Shield of Daybreak onto Haitian, and in comes DJ Juicy, managing to land a couple of stacks. Detonated from his Blight on Haitian. She gets away with, what the hell is that? It is roughly just 30 health. That is nuts. Anyway, Volibear going to be trying to steal out Magmus. In comes Captain Yo. Instead, his name is actually Crumpet. But anyway, a flash being forced out from Magmus early in the game. Going to deny him those special ganks. Kills and ganks. He's just there for lane control. Very good use of jungle awareness. I believe he still managed to pick up the buff, though. Let me just... Oh, no, it was actually smited out. So the red buff is sitting on Volibear, the double red buff. Indeed. Let me just double check on all of that for you. It definitely is. There is no doubt about it. Yes, he went smiteless on the blue and then went over to red. So that red over there is available. When the Fortitude will be popped, we're really going to see a spike in the damage coming out from Crumpet Yo. Looking at the CS, he's doing phenomenally at that ranged farm, bursting everything out. In comes another Zenith Blade initiate. No Blight stacks detonated on that engage. Tarek forced to use his mana to try and heal Haitian up. Hashashin. I'm going to go with Hashashin. It works. It works. Flask and Pots versus up against 8 Pot. Not a good combination when you're versing a Rumble. When you're versing someone with cooldowns, those 8 Pots are devastating. And look at that, actually, the auto attack control from Sammy and DJ Juicy. Insta taking down a ward. That's going to really help out their lane. They're able to get those lane ganks now, because Volibear would probably be easily spotted out from the river, and it's way harder to engage from there as well. Pushing up against their turret, he's able to engage from their Tri-Brush, come to think of it. Even if he has that opportunity, he does have to tank up a little bit before he does that. Just a little bit everywhere. I said a little bit for everything. In the mid lane, still pushing out by Zed. Mechanics going a little bit in favor to Null at this point in time. The farm is heading up their way in the mid lane and the bot lane, and the pushing is very, very phenomenal. It's going all right for that top lane. They're just a back and forth, and it's about range. They're very equal in what they're doing. There's no one system where they're going to pull off enough damage to kill each other. And there's so much pushing potential in a Magmus, who did go in there for try and hit out the protect. Down goes the ignite. Zed picking up the first blood. That is going to be enough for him to scale into the late game, scale into the mid game. Sorry. But if it changes over into bot lane, I'm thinking he could pick up that turret dive kill, just like you guys saw the first game, or indeed that second with the Kassadin. Danger mode forced to actually burn out a lane with the final spark. Will be hitting back. What is going to be the retaliation from Danger mode? In goes the all-in! Sammy landing the Zenith Blade, throwing out a Shield of Daybreak. It did work really, really well. They got Haitian down again to 30 health. Getting right back up to 60 there. Forcing her out of lane twice. No kill with that. Still forcing her out of lane twice. Still denying a lot of the CS. Picking up a Vamp Scepter for her. And a bunch of health pots to try and sustain in the lane. Varus is going to be floating so much now. 1500, that's an instant BF so when he gets back. 1500 compared to the 200 floating, so it's 2k to 17. Quite a big gap already for the ADCs, despite not even having that kill. And there's those detonates. They're really denying a lot of the farm in that bot lane by getting it up against the turret. Taking all them kills, pretty damn good. And it was health regen coming out from Sammy in the early game instead of mana. Looks like he's focusing on getting out a... no, he's going for Philo first. But definitely getting a little bit of help to sustain when he goes for those all-ins. Good decision. Doesn't want to be left vulnerable. And that's something that Leona really has to focus on. Dodging out that... oh, actually, they're going to deny the gank from Moose. Oh, and goes the final spark. Letting Moose pick up the kill onto Zed. Very unexpected. A perfect dodge out. Flash forced out by Ilkuga there. Not even the knock-up going to land. Magmoose going to back out there. A perfect dodge out from that light binding though on that mark of death. That was intense. But it knocked him under the turret, got him in a difficult position. And Lux managed to get that final spark off. Connected with a couple of auto attacks after a loosened singularity. Now that DJ Juicy does have his chain of corruption. Getting all of those Marade of stuns off from Sammy. They're going to focus down on Icy Hot here. Hishation probably going to have an easier time scaling now. I mean, still Hishation has not died. And that's been enough to let him sustain the lane. God, that was very close for Danger Mode. Getting that light binding on Ilkuga. Didn't have a final spark available for it. Wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, in that bot lane, they've just got a lot of health left on that lane. It's great scaling for her. And up at the top lane, yep, Destro Ward was right. Playing Jace does win games. Does win engages, does win lane comps. Now that that 1-for-1 did go down, it does look like the mechanics are evening out. Only 500 gold difference between these two teams, so it's looking pretty close as opposed to those last few games. Then goes the stun, everything thrown down on that Volibear, and he is very dead. The chain of corruption used defensively, so that is down, and no going from Zed either. Zed was just not close enough to help out with that fight. It would have been a 4v3 had he been just that little bit closer. After the engage, they just didn't want to touch it though. That insta-kill on Volibear, absolutely nuts. Jay's going to be stacking up that Tour of the Goddess really quick. His transform proccing it, of course. Exactly like a singed. Press button to get stacks, press button for a singe to get health. Why not? Why would you not? Why would you do that? Haunting guy is sitting on the Rumble in the top lane. He's actually planning on getting really aggressive up against Sigil. Damn. There have been some really good Zenith Blades from Sammy, to be honest, controlling them. As soon as we see Scrap's shield coming in from Mad Max, the Initiate is really strong with him. That's what he's relying on to control that lane, but it hasn't been overly successful. 66 to 75 farm. The range is in Sigil's favor. In goes another Zenith Blade, perfectly landed. The cleanse goes off on the Shield of Daybreak, but DJ Juicy manages to get the kill at the last second with the Ignite, ticking down 2-2. And then comes another engage on Zed. Danger Mode didn't even have to heal out of that one. That Ignite did go down, but Zed forced out. He was too close to the turret. I feel like he could have done a little bit more burst with that, though. BF sword coming out from Crumpet and from DJ Juicy. And it looks like Rumble's going straight for Leandros. A perfect gank down on the bot lane. Icy Hot left completely alone, trying to fend for that turret. Ilkuga going in, taking a little bit of that damage, getting the flip off. Just such a perfect gank at that 4v1. Good map control and very poor Icy Hot. I do not believe he had any wards to spare for that tri-brush behind him, but he did not realize that the mid lane was just empty. Roaming Zed, something to be feared, and he can roam very quickly. So even if you call that MA, he can get to that bot lane almost as quick as a Kassadin. And there's the dragon going down to Nulleye as well, putting that gold gap to 2.3. No death on the ADC. It looks like DJ Juicy going to be scaling pretty damn well, and he's looked to be pretty good. Detonating his stacks, managing to get the enough damage off on Vayne. A lot of lockdowns from Sanctus though, and if they can keep Hashation alive, maybe that will be their ticket into the late game. It's still not a loss for either of the teams. They're very close, both in their mechanics and in their decisions and their team play. There is quite a lot of heavy engaged CC, as I pointed out from Nulleye at the beginning of the game. But again, maybe Sanctus will be able to deny a lot of that CC with their binds, with their ruptures, as long as Hashation stays alive. Let's see it happen. There's the Seeker's Arm guide coming out from Lux in the mid lane, dealing with Crumpet Yo. Such a perfect item that they released for that lane. It's made champion like Diana just so much more useful, so much more viable. Really worth it. Bloodthirster finished off from DJ Juicy after the engage before. His damage is really spiking up. He's focusing on straight out burst. Look at that. We haven't actually seen any Blade of the Ruined Kings today. I'm rather surprised. Pleasantly. Owen and Michael Coates 0108 apparently calling out it's Hash Ashen. Of course it is, dude. Of course it is. Because names make sense. Anyway, Sigil nearly getting enough burst down to take out Mad Max. He does get that Scrapyard out enough in time to get away. Too much range going out, and after that burst was thrown out by Sigil, after the overcharge, it was pretty much done. Zip must be floating a fair amount of coin. Yeah, he's sitting at 2.1k, so what is he going to do with that BS sword? In goes the Chain of Corruption, and also that Solar Flare denying the gank entirely, but Hashashin manages to knock DJ Juicy against the wall. There's that single auto attack going down. Bane's going to pick up the kill, and they're going to move in against Sammy. Oh no, the Final Spark barely missing him out, and they were trying to focus him down there. It was nearly successful, very nearly. They continue to push the lane, as they may be able to push in on this. They have 4v2, they can definitely make the difference, and no one is there to change the tides of battle. The minions are going down. Good lane clearing from Crumpet Yo. And good reaction from Hashashin, stunning Varus against the wall. Almost as good as he. I'm calling it. I'm calling it. Apparently someone thinks that's disgusting. Indeed, that is very disgusting. Thank you for the mighty line. Why is that going on? 3 for 3 in the game at this point. Gold advantage 1.8k in favor of Nulle because of that mechanic. We did notice that at the beginning of the game the mechanics were just a little bit higher, and they did start out with those raids and the golems for their mid and bot lane, which was so strong. Really good tactic for letting teams just get that extra level ahead in the game. And there's Blade of the Ruined King. It's going to be coming out for Vayne in this game, starting out with that Bilgewater. You guys are going to see it. We're not going to be able to get away from this. Most definitely. And why would you want to? Blade of the Ruined King. So tasty. Quite a cheap item, but if as you start out, it's a bit less damage. In goes a perfectly landed Zenith Blade. Oh, and is the flash going to go down? No, the flash was available on Hashashin. But too much CC. Gonna be netting a kill for DJ Juicy. He threw down enough of that, enough of the blight to detonate it and get the kill. And Mamax going for the 1-for-1. He finds the 1-for-1. His Leandri's burning enough of health right at the very end, and he also popped that ignite. Gonna be able to kill Jace there. Great engage when you're locked behind the turret. Why not get a kill while you go down? Take someone down with you. Exactly what he did. And Icy Hort denying that word before he gets called out. Close call, buddy. 3 minutes roughly until Dragon comes up. Surprisingly, a little bit of magic resist caught out by DJ Juicy. He's noted the only one doing fantastically in their lane is that Lux. Outside of that, it is quite a lot of 80 damage from Vayne and Jace, though. I'm guessing that's gone into Merc Treads for Varus. Surprisingly, he doesn't want to go straight for those Berserker's Greaves. It'll be interesting to see what he wants to do with that. Remember that one turret is down at the bot lane, leaving it Hashashin quite vulnerable. Pushing into the mid lane. That's allowed for the lane swap, as you have noticed. It is Sammy and DJ Juicy in that mid lane, and they've warded up decently in the river there. Whether or not that will cost them, because they haven't got that side at the top, and danger mode is there with a needlessly large rod. catching off a live binding. That is it for the lane. And it's everyone on Null converging into the mid. They're just abandoning those lanes. Down goes the turret as they have that map control and they have that presence. They just pushed everybody back. And there's the dragon. It's up. Is the objective going to be tasty enough for Null to go back, or are they going to continue engaging? They do. In goes the Zenith Blade, throwing down all the stops. Out goes the ult from Rumble as well. As our final spark goes off, perfectly landed. The chain of corruption rather, actually landing on a significant portion of Sanctus. It goes for a 1-for-1. The Q guy just took a lot of damage, just a chunk, and that's where the damage output, it really comes from Sanctus in those team fights, as long as they get those binds off. But great initiates from Null as they go for the all-in. That Zenith Blade just having Leona just get a little bit outside of her team's range. They couldn't follow up from her. You saw that equalizer go down from Rumble, but he was coming in from the side. It wasn't enough to engage with. Pause going out, not sure why. But behind the battle was Varus and Zed, and by the time they actually managed to get up, that would have been too much. The team would have been too much in danger. Their Volibear took a lot of damage. Believe the passive did in fact proc. And they couldn't engage at the turret. Definitely a good engage, but just a bit out of place for the engage and just close to the turret. Mechanic-wise, good engage. Situationally, not so much. Now that dragon objective is there. It is quite a hot spot for control, but it looks like Sanctus want to move in on the mid lane. They haven't quite yet taken down a turret, and it's a 2-for-0 in that exchange. They need a little bit more map control. They have warded up rather nicely, to be honest, in the jungle and in the river. Come on. Somebody take that dragon. Everybody's warded that area. It's just so ridiculously well looked after. Nobody has a chance to pick up dragon at this point. Straight into a brutalizer from Zed. He hasn't quite finished it off yet. He's got those 2 long swords, but he's going straight up aggressive at 2-1-1 in the game. Just that little bit over, just that 400 gold over an advantage to Lux. It's not that much of a lead, but he's been rather protective the entire game, so he's looking for that straight damage output. And Null, thinking they've got pure control. They really do of Dragon. They have pushed back the Lux, and they know exactly what's going on here. They did do a little bit of anti-warding. All of the wards from Sank did go down, and there's that Dragon going down 27.9k to 23.7. A little bit of a gold advantage there. Flip going out on the ISO Hodder, who was trying to ward out. Won't be able to make the escape. He had the flash available, but he didn't use it at all. Mad Max going to be bursted down by that final spark into the damage from Assassin, giving another kill to Sanctus. Well executed in the push used to Sanctus's advantage. Hiding out Magmax as he was trying to counter jungle just that little bit. He was caught out of place. In the meantime, Samuel Kugo and DJ Juicy down on the bot lane, really pushing it hard as they get another turret. 3 for no turrets. Going to widen that gold gap, given that a little bit of lead in the game and given that more map control. Sammy putting down that ward for greater effect, and they're going to be able to steal out blue buff as well. Blade of the Ruin King has been finished on Hashashin, but is it enough to let Hashashin scale? Potentially. The other teams are converging together. There's quite a lot of protection happening for Hashashin. All I can say from Nullus right now, they're just going to get... Sorry, from Nullite right now, they're going to get right into those team fights. They've got the advantage, and particularly Sammy knows that. Particularly Sammy. He knows to go for those engages. He knows the opportunities that he needs. And it looks like he's really good at landing that Zenith Blade and making sure that it lands on the right person. He's no blitz. He's not going to pull the wrong person. He's not going to pull the Cho. Even then, a Zenith Blade going into a team fight just gets Leona that much closer to the ADC to get off the Shield of Daybreak. Throwing down the Solar Flare to initiate. And I'm just expecting such aggressive play as we've seen all game from Null. You can see how risky it is. It is 6-7 in the game. It isn't too much in their favor. but it's enough for them to have come out of every fight sort of on top. They've pushed the lanes out for Sanctus. They took control of those map objectives, particularly Dragon. And the mechanics in terms of farm, they've managed to keep it there. And where's that Condemn coming out from Hashation? There it goes, and the turret damage is not actually landing on Hashation. It is going to be a victory for Hashation in that bot lane with a 1v1 ADCs. Varus not quite walking behind his turret. That was so close. The healing just a little bit in Hashation's favor right there. And of course he did have that percentage damage over time and the true damage from his silver bolts. An interesting win coming out. TJ Juicy having those kills up on Vayne before, and the ignite. Vayne still is able to out damage him. That's Blade of the Ruined King for you. That's what it does. Up against a Bloodthirst, up against Burst, come to think of it. As long as Vayne can stay safe, of course. You know, Varus is that skill shot sort of burst champion. Slightly on a higher difficulty than Graves. Those placements can get pretty tricky, and they're easy to dodge out of for Varus, to be honest. Mad Max still trying to get aggressive up at that top lane, sitting 2-2-0. It's not too bad. Sigil in the same situation. Vayne coming in to protect the top lane. That is the only outer turret that they have left. Sanctus really want to protect that out, but they also really want to protect the rest of their jungle. So they need to be warding out now. They've got good positioning in the lower half of the map. They do have sight up and just a little bit closer to Baron. Aside from that, they have no idea where else Nulleye are right now. Nulleye's just roaming around parts of their jungle that they simply haven't warded. It's going to be dangerous for Icy Hot to be going into that jungle. That's where he's been caught out several times already in the game. He's been trying to ward and trying to get sight on key positions, but he just hasn't been there with his team. Dangerous mode, going to be flashing out of there, barely made it to safety. Magmoose going to deny the chase off as well with the rupture. Good defensive maneuvers, but that flash burned out by danger mode there. Energize bursting out those minions. You want to get rid of those, and it's quite a lot of lane clearing potential. That's a good tactic, especially against a champion like Nasus, to be honest, because he relies on his ultimate to get that in the middle of a minion, a little bit like Mordekaiser to get that defense. And in goes a final spark on a Samayan on Kuga, as well as all those initiates. The overcharge just barely missing. Vayne actually going down while the rest of her team is occupied, and Ozohort trying to follow in. The Chain of Corruption does manage to land on him, and they don't get the kill. It was so close for that double kill on the final spark, so ridiculously close. So surprised they didn't pick it up after the rupture went down. You saw that final spark loading. It was just no, that little bit, but still Nulleye coming out positive in those fights. I'm happy at least we got that one close game. Some very nice games today, but this is a close one. Either way, Nulleye's still in their lead. They've still got that gold gap, 6K an advantage to them, and they've got the team fights and the aggression focus. I mean, they've really only got a couple of dragons and the turrets in favor of them. They're not taking away too many of those team fights. So there's that gold advantage. So you can see how Sanctus is still dealing with them pretty well. There's not actually too much resist coming out from Sanctus, and they've got the opportunity to build into that. So especially Cho'Gath. You can get Abyssal and Danger Mode as well to try and mitigate that rumble. Nulleye still with map control. They're going to be able to get another dragon coming into the game. Wider gold gap, wider and wider. This is how you get that 10k without even having to be too aggressive. Sorry, without having to be too successful. You just be aggressive. Hello, Jesus 9326. You're one of those late Jesuses. Just a massive Jesus number there. All of these guys are from New Zealand. This is Company of Gamers, League of Legends Esports, the New Zealand esports scene coming into 2013. This is the first event, points rounds happening here. And indeed, Michael Coates, it is all about protect the ADC, and Hashation was just left alone in that engage. Split up, worked very well with Nulleye. Welcome, guys, to New Zealand League of Legends Esports. The League of Pauses has begun. Yeah, I don't know. We had a league at the beginning. We had a pause at the beginning. I was like, we're not going to have any more. You guys wait until LAN tournaments. It's great fun. No, I don't know if what I'll be able to do as an administrator to mitigate pauses. Maybe I can. Just maybe. Today has gone great though. We've had no forfeits. We have no late entries. Everybody's getting straight into the scene. Really proud. 18 teams competing in these points rounds. Brutalizer coming up for JC's really trying to scale into those auto attacks. That burst moving into the auto attacks with the Manamune. Works really well from him. There's the Oracle coming out from Cho'Gath. He knows the site starting to creep into their jungle. That's going to make the difference. That really will. Wooden Smell jumping up on him as well. Probably looking at a Frozen. Aranduin's, you know, its active is really, really useful, but the Frozen allows Cho'Gath that little bit more sustain with his mana. But overall, Aranduin's just that little bit more tanky. Spirit Visage coming out on Volibear as well as that Locket of the Iron Solari. His sustain is intense, and getting that Locket is the perfect thing for his team. I wouldn't be surprised if Sammy picked up a Locket as well. We've seen a lot of double Lockets recently in the scene. It's so effective. Jumping in there with that all-in Leona, getting off one Locket of the Iron Solari, mitigating that much damage. 150 on each member across the entire team. I believe it is 150. Did I get that right? Oh, nearly 120 plus that 50. Up to 50 plus 120 damage. Just so slightly. Having two of them is just insane though. The sustain is ridiculous. Kuga going to be the focus of attention there. Out goes the Equalizer, but it's not going to be enough to equalize this fight. Funnily enough, one going down from Nulla. They just didn't get the engage that they wanted. They've got the damage off though. If they turn around, they've just got so much health, but all their ultimates are down. The Chain of Corruption went, the Solar Flame, and they've just got nothing else going for them to initiate in a team fight. Just a bit unfortunate they had that engaged. They needed to move in on that. Come on. Let's get more hands on. Now they've lost their warding potential in Sanctus's lane. Sorry, in Sanctus's jungle, rather. Maybe they're going to be able to move in against Nulla a bit more effectively. Exactly like that. Like Nulla, they're quite confident in this. They're very foolhardy in the fact that they're ahead on composition. We've seen how aggressive they've been all game, and it's worked out so well for them. But they need to be aggressive as a team, and that's where it's worked well for them. It's very dangerous when they're going out in very unwooded places. But that's the Cho'Gath going out. Perfect play with his oracles. That's what you want to see. And he's going to tank up so well. I'm expecting that Random's on him anytime soon. Good guy Cho'Gath, letting that golem refresh. Just survive for a little bit longer. Still haven't seen too many of those Zonya's hourglasses going out from danger mode. Seems like a good amount of protection, good amount of distance coming out from him. Bloodthirster on Zed as well as on Varus that we saw before. He's actually gone for the Phantom Dancer, going for the IE now as well. And it's going to be that semi-burst auto attack Vayne. I still sort of favor that over burst champions. And he's focusing on that burst a lot more, but he still wants that auto attack dominance. I love that with Graves. I love that burst and that teamfight potential. But it is a little bit more inconsistent compared to Blade of the Ruined King, just because of the damage output that can be done on auto attacks. I mean, it is a bit of a toss-up. You can go Blade of the Ruined King, Bloodthirster, which is pretty good, but then you really want that speed coming into it. Phantom Dancer picked up on Vayne, for example. Static Shiv. Haven't seen Static Shiv for a long time. But 8-8 into the game, and Sanctus are coming back quite strong as they begin to team up, protect Hashashin a little bit more. And Danger Mode comes in and he gets those perfect final sparks off. That's the team fight damage. Hashashin, you are a little bit further away. Oh, he does manage to get the slow. Down goes the Equalizer, and Hashashin is the focus of attention. He does go down. First in the team fight, the flip goes off on Magmus. Out goes the Chain of Corruption. It lands on everybody. A nicely placed final spark. It's not going to be enough to take down everyone in total, though. It did take down Volibear. He did have his regen. It is a 2-for-1 exchange. Nulla coming out on top of that again. And I believe they didn't quite have, no, they didn't even quite have De Leona in there to deal the damage or make that initiate. It was all in with Mad Max. Damn. Hishation just getting caught out there from the Electro Harpoon. Very unfortunate. He should have stayed back with his team. They were all running away, probably calling him back, and he just stayed right in there. Got caught out just at the very tip of that Electro Harpoon. Also had the flash and didn't use it. I think it may have just come back up. Come to think of it, I was sitting there going, where's that mobility? I'm sorry, Vayne, what you doing? What you doing, man? Zhonya's now on Rumble. That's going to make it so hard to disengage. Once they try and focus down the damage dealers, which come out from Rumble, Varus, and Zed, you know, all their focus is going to be split once they find Rumble. All of his Leandri's damage would have gone down. It's just intense. They'll probably be forced to fight under his ultimate as well. That is just so devastating. 10-9 in the game. Vayne continuing to scale, 4-4 nonetheless. Again, protect the Vayne. Save the Vayne, save the world. Just maybe. And I missed out the Black Cleaver on Zed, by the way. He is going to try and focus out that Blade of the Ruined King. Maybe getting a Randuin's with that Giant's Belt. Who knows if it's going to go for a Warmogs. Potentially. And yet, is going to be a Randuin's on the Cho'Gath, as I suspected. He grabbed that Giant's Belt there alongside the Warden's Mail. Out goes, I think, potentially a little bit premature. Oh no, down goes the Zhonya's. They look to force back in with Danger Mode, popping that Zhonya's out. She didn't even get the final spark off. Down goes the Chain of Corruption, and that's going to be a rollover for Nulleye. Ilkuga did get focused down there, so a good amount of positioning and focus coming from Sanctus. And they managed to protect Vayne just long enough to let her scale past and stay alive. The chase is going down. She does make it out of there. And apparently somebody just disconnected. Let me just double check that. Why is the pause not coming out? Critical ratios. What you doing, man? Then there is me. Silver 5%. Okay. What's up, Longstar? Hello. And Sigil has quit. I think there was a little bit of a connection issue potentially there. Unless a rage quit went out and they were like, no, buddy, save again. Come on. Brackets would indeed be nice. Jesus, this isn't really a tournament though. It is a points round, so there is no straight winner. It's only following games. This is how it works for the CoG LoL esports scene. It's sort of like the LCS, and they sort of play games and they gain points. So you really only want to look at the points at the end. We do have LAN tournaments in the sort of at the end of each half season. So I will be linking you to the brackets for the Masters division. You can see this. There's 3 rounds per Monday. You can have a look at that. You can have a look at a couple of teams in there as well. And that's just, it's also got the players' names and stuff, so you can sort of research what the scene looks like in the Masters division particularly. Next week we're going to be looking at the Grinders division. Each corresponding week we're going to cast different matches from different divisions, and each week they get put up against a random opponent. So there's the chance that the same teams will register for the next week and will get points and will be versing the exact same people. It is all randomized with the points section. And apparently AZN throwing out a Grinders event with YouTube. No idea what's going on with that. No idea. And Sigil just having so many disconnect issues. What is going on, Sigil? By the way, this is the last game of tonight for the points rounds. When you look at the Masters, you will see 3 games highlighted. Those were the games that were casted today. Unorganized versus Zero Elo. Yin Yang Gaming versus VGN. Amazing games. And now Nulleye versus Sanctus. Very close matchup. A little bit of issue with Sigil apparently. I'm guessing he is DC'd there. What is the situation? We good now? Apparently we good now. Yeah, we good now. So what exactly can Sanctus do to come back from this this much of a lead? It is a 10k gold lead in favor of Nulleye. From that though, they've got to stay far away from the equalizer coming out from Rumble. They really do. Once they get rid of that and they fight in their own domain, they do have quite a lot going for them. They've got that Randuin's to slow everything coming out, especially Varus, especially Zed. They've got quite a lot of damage output coming from Sigil. He can poke them out before a team fight. Although they do have a lot of resist landing on them. and they do need all of those lockdowns placed perfectly. Tarek needs to jump on Varus there, or mitigate damage coming out from Rumble. Getting a dazzle out on him isn't a bad idea because he does burn out his flame spitter during that engage. So decent focus coming out there potentially, and in the Hourglass, of course, on Danger Mode. It's just all of the champions that are squishy. You've got Danger Mode and Assassin keep getting caught out behind their team as their team backs up. Their synergy will hopefully be more focused on protecting those two. And Null are going to be taking this Baron. They just really don't care. I know they're going to try and go for the steal. Sanctus will not find it though. Null are just way ahead right now. They've now got Baron, and they're going to move in. Can they get the perfect team fight off to finish off the game? If they do, I tell you what, they're going to be able to do it. It's just such an all-in champion composition with Nalai, and they need to be very close with each other to make it work. Once that Zenith Blade goes off, Ilkuga needs to pop out his Rolling Thunder. Decent amount of poke from DJ Juicy there. I guess they're going to be going into that, transitioning to that top lane and taking all the turrets they can. That's how you secure games, making sure all the lanes are completely destroyed. You've got every ounce of gold you could suck out of everything. But I believe a couple of them are floating a K. Yeah, 1,500 floating on Crumpet, yo. If he goes back and gets a, starts out with that Blade of the Ruined King, potentially. Final Spark landed by Danger Mode. It's not available anymore. If they go for the engage, they could make it. That ult is down. Playing at the turret though, not necessarily the best thing to do. Null are hesitant to go in, but they're hesitant to back away. They know they want those minions there. They're trying to poke it out. They're not a poke composition. Get in there, Sammy! You've been very, very astute this entire game. You've jumped in there with no hesitation. And if you manage to shine again, maybe you'll get the exact same engage as you have the last couple of fights. Being able to control the team, being able to force back Sanctus and take objectives. Top turret down. Crumpet Yo looking for damage on a Hashashin. Finds it. Gets knocked up though. His Living Shadow is down and he is silenced nonetheless. They're not going to move in on the damage. They just don't. They just keep not moving in on the engages that they land. I guess Sanctus are very, very unconfident. In goes Ilkuga, focusing down Assassin. She does manage to tumble out of the way. She is going to be the focus of attention. There's that death mark from on Assassin, managing to get her down. Out goes the Zhonya's protecting Mad, and they're moving into roll over everyone. Ilkuga going down as the first to go from Null. May just be the only to go from Null with Mad Max going there. Oh no! Caught out just a little bit by no, that last turret hit is not going to land on Mad Max, and he does manage to throw out Junkyard anyway. Sorry, Scrap. It is indeed Scrap. Yes, it is. Scrap Shield. Being able to get away from that turret damage anyway, even if that second one did go off. That wasn't even an engage from Sammy. You can see how successful it was. That will be a GG. But I'm just going to go back and analyze that last fight before the game ends. Let's just have a look at what happens a little bit in slow-mo. We know that Crumpet Yo was being a little bit aggressive up at the top lane. That's not what it was all about there. He was silenced and he was pushed back. He has the potential to come back into a fight though. They take this turret and they force the aggression from Sanctus out. Sanctus, they really wanted to protect this turret. They went in. As soon as it went down, out goes the Equalizer. And that is right when the team fight starts, right when they have control. Zed is out of the team fight, but he can jump over the wall. The flip goes out from Ilkuga. They aren't able to stay in it. Sammy doesn't manage to land the Zenith Blade, I believe, at all. No, barely misses it, and now Vayne is invisible. They're following up on it, though. And in comes Crumpet Yo, throwing out the Mark of Death, getting the kill. A perfectly placed Final Spark going out from Danger Mode, letting her team pick up a kill on the Volibear. But then it's history for Sigil as the ADC. DJ Juicy comes in and cleans up Mango Moose and Sigil. Danger Mode coming up next. Mad Max being very aggressive. And they manage to move in on the turret and finally get the kill, and he protects himself with that scrap. And then they move in for the win. That was the last game of the night, guys. Thank you for joining in. Null Secundus versus Sanctus. Null Secundus actually going by Null now. I just can't stop saying Secundus because it's so much more worth it. Either way, though, it was the last game, sadly. Join us next Monday for another 3 points rounds where we will be looking at the Grinders division. And I'm going to be spending like half my week, despite going through the UAV and controlling a whole bunch of other tournaments and events and shoutouts, whatever. I'm going to be trying to get a whole bunch of lists for what champions a lot of these teams and players play, and how they synergize together, what they've been up to, and how their rosters have changed since last year. So thank you for tuning in. Shoutcasting is going to get better as we know more and more about these teams coming into this season. New Zealand League of Legends esports still pretty new, and a lot of these teams still mixing and matching a lot of their players. It's come great into 2012 though. We've had some amazing tournaments, and it's moved in with a lot of fun. Thanks for joining. I've been Snowy Padre, and I am Snowy. I haven't been him. I'm Snowy Padre. That's who I am. This is Company of Gamers League of Legends esports 2013 points rounds event number 1, event number 2 next Monday. 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. same time. Thank you, and good night. You're all winners.